Hi, this is John of johncanmakeit.com, and I'm going to show you how to make this thumb guard here. And what it does is it protects your thumb from receiving cuts when you're doing the paring cut. I'll demonstrate that real quick. So the paring cut, just so you know, is when you're kind of like peeling a potato, is you draw the blade toward your thumb, and this didn't have your thumb guard here. Clearly that would hurt when your thumb gets sliced. So the point of this tutorial and this lesson is to show you how to make a thumb guard that's effective, what I use as a somewhat pro carver, and rather than using something that's store-bought, you can make it yourself, and it's actually much more effective and long-lasting than something you can buy in the store. We're going to start out how we make this thumb guard here. We're going to make this thing out of this finger wrap gauze. It's available on my store for about $5 for one of the inch wide rolls. Should make about 2 to 3 thumb guards, or if you make one, you can always rewrap it and repair the one you have if you make multiple knife cuts into it. But again, this is finger wrap gauze that you can get it online elsewhere, but rather than buying 18 rolls of it at one time, you can just buy one from my store. So how we're going to start out is you're going to make the foundation for your thumb guard, and you can see mine's pretty beat up because it's used heavily. And so to start out, we're going to make a base or a bed that's going to go on the palm of your finger here. And so how I do it is pull out a good length, and about the length of my thumb, you can see here, so down to about the middle of my knuckle here. That's about how long I want it to be. If you make this thing going all the way up to your big knuckle right in your hand, it's going to be too much to get on and off, because as we're making it and as we're wrapping it, you don't want it so tight and so long that you can't get it on and off easily. So again, we're going to measure about that long, and we're going to fold it. And you just pick a spot, and we're going to fold it right about there. And you're going to do this multiple times, so if it's crooked like that, that's okay. You're remeasuring here. I'm just going to continue to fold it over, and again, this is making the base for the rest of our thumb guard. This is going to be the high impact area for your knife is going to impact your thumb when you're doing the paring cut. And again, the point of the thumb guard is to protect your thumb from blade cuts. And it's not to be as a replacement of a band-aid or anything, but it certainly will stop you from having to use a band-aid or go to the hospital for stitches. And you want to start making it wide like this in multiple layers. This right here, this roll is only 3/4 of an inch wide. The rolls you can buy from my store, they're an inch wide, so it makes this part a little easier. The width doesn't necessarily matter, it just depends on how many layers you're going to do. And I'm going to continue to make it a little bit wider, just like that. And so it's creating a wider base to start from. And what we're going to want to do, as you can see in mine here, just kind of a lip area here. I put a piece of leather in there as well, but it's not entirely necessary. So here and here, we're going to make a boat in a way where your thumb's going to rest. So I'm going to continue to wrap that around. As you continue to wrap around, making it wider and wider, layer on layer, it's going to provide more and more impact sustainability against the knife blade. I'm going to get just across one more time, and it's probably 15-20 layers here that I'm doing. And this stuff, it's really unique that it doesn't stick to your skin, but it sticks to itself, which is a really cool feature to it. The thumb guards you can buy in stores, such as Woodcraft, they're made of leather, which is a good protectant, but they don't always keep their hold or their structure around your thumb. They loosen up because they stretch. So this stuff right here, it molds to itself and stays in one shape. There's not a whole lot of give to it once it's molded in a certain way. So after you made that base like this little cube area, it's going to be different for your size thumb. I got a pretty large thumb, so the next step we're going to do is wrap it around like this, and we're going to take some more gauze and go around and around and around. So we have our base that's going to go, it's going to wrap around my thumb like this, and the next part we're going to do is cut off a few strips just to get us started. These are just starting strips for the rest of the thumb guard, and this is just going to help us nail down the shape. And when you go around to actually wrapping it around your thumb, you don't want to have it too tight. That's one of the dangers, because if you have it too tight, you'll never be able to get it off. This one right here, it's well used. As it goes, slides on my finger, it gets a little snugger and it's tight, and I can carve, and the pressure that I roll my thumb with, it doesn't come off without physically pulling it off. So that's the goal. That's what you're looking for, is not too tight but not too loose. So I'm going to take my piece here and start on the bottom, wrap it around. If you have someone that can help you with this, it would make it easier, but as you can see, it could be done all in one hand, or one-handed. Now I'm not pulling it super tight. As you can see, there's a little bit of movement there. That's kind of what you're looking for. Nothing too tight, but not too loose. Just gently wrap that around. Pull it off, kind of shape the tip of my finger a little bit more. I'll grab my other piece. And the benefit of doing it this way rather than looping from top to bottom and around and then going around again without ever cutting it is, as you, let me take this off for a second, as you carve, as you can see, mine's getting a little bit more abrasive, it cuts and deteriorates. I can unwrap this, use my old boat or my base, and then rewrap that part rather than having to make an entirely new one. So put this back on. This is where it comes in the key factor. You don't want it too tight. I can gently slide that on, and we'll mold it more so it fits better later. I'm going to go ahead and just keep on wrapping that. Pull it on my thumb a little bit more. It can get a little bit tighter as it gets sort of tipping your thumb, because that's not where it's going to be the most snug. It's typically going to be the most snug around the knuckle and the meatier part of your thumb here. And how we address the front of it, because clearly this right now won't stop a front cut from a knife blade, but we're going to continue to wrap it. We put on our few starter pieces here. I'm going to go back to my roll and just attach it and start making my rounds. I pull off a good amount of material, so I'm not constantly tightening it as I'm rolling it out. I want to have it somewhat gently wrapped. Pull off a little more. And if it's easier for you to work in strips, you can work in strips rather than working off the roll. I'm going to work the front. Going to mushroom it in some. And with the wider gauze that you can get at my store, this process right here is a little easier because it doesn't take such narrow strips as the 3/4 roll that I have that I'm using. Much better. Continue to wrap it. Now, how many wraps is sufficient? Well, it really depends on how aggressive you are with your knife blade, but this should stop most knife cuts because it's not so much to completely bar you from lopping off your thumb, but it will stop those general knife cuts from doing the paring cut, which is the point of it. Tear that off there. And what I think I'll do also here on the very tip, it's almost blocked in, but It doesn't take much to take a little bit of material, like this, and just make almost like another new base. Just a little one. Tear it off like that. Put it over the tip. And then just wrap that tip a couple more rounds around. A few more times around. Just like that. And that's pretty much how you make your thumb guard. So I can take this now and start doing my paring cut. Getting pretty aggressive with it, and as you can see, my thumb is just fine. So, and how you get it back on is you want to leave it on your thumb. I mean, this one's made pretty well, and because you do the boat area, it leaves a lip like that. You can see that lip shaping to my thumb already, to where you can just slide it on and off. The most difficult part will be getting it over the top of your knuckle there, but it should be pretty easy to get on and off just like that, sliding it on, getting it snug, and molding it to your finger. And so that's how you make a homemade thumb guard that's very effective and practical for use and very cost effective as well.